Golf Podcast, presented by Golficity, where we bring you the tips, instruction, and support you need to get the most out of your golf game. And now your hosts, Frank and Mike.
All right, guys, this is episode number 203, and tomorrow is the big day for us. As of this recording, we are leaving Mike in probably about 18 hours to fly down to Orlando, going to the PGA show. I can't wait for that. We've got a couple big things that on Golficity this last week or so. We've got two big giveaways that we're doing, which we've been talking about, the Grenade 2 driver, as well as our 200 for 200, giveaway. Check those out in some of the previous episodes, as well as on our YouTube channel. We just actually were on doing our YouTube, our Facebook Live session, and, we just talked about that there as well. But really great stuff. I'm super excited for this. We're finally getting to go down there. It's going to be a whirlwind 48 hours. We'll talk about our itinerary a little bit more in a second. We're going to talk about Mike's what's in the bag heading into Bay Hill. I know you played the simulator. You're sending me some really excited texts, so I want to get into those in a second. As always, please subscribe to the show on iTunes. You can do that, and you can get our latest vlogs on YouTube as well, but just hit that subscribe button. It's the quickest way to get notified when we have new videos drop on YouTube and on iTunes to have our new episodes drop. But before we go any further, I want to mention that this episode of the Golf Podcast is sponsored by Health IQ. Health IQ is an insurance company that helps health-conscious people like runners, cyclists, weightlifters, and vegetarians lower their rates on life insurance. Healthier individuals deserve to get rewarded with more affordable insurance. So check out healthiq.com/Golficity to support the show and see if you qualify today. All right, Mike. Tell everybody about your revelation with your what's in the bag right now.
Yeah. So real quick, a lot of the listeners and some of the fans in the podcast group on Facebook, they've been just kind of private messaging me, emailing. They're saying, Mike, it'd be a great idea if we can kind of follow along in the journey to Bay Hill and kind of see what you're going through to prep for this. And I thought that was kind of cool, So I want to give that back, and I'm going to start doing that. So I made a promise to myself, and it started last week, Frank, my prep. And right now I'm taking it very easy. I am working out 5 days a week. So it's on the actual workout side, the fitness side.
I love how that's taking it easy for you. 5 days a week, backing it off a little bit. Backing
it off just a little, drop from 6 to 5. No, but, I'm doing the fitness side there. As far as the golf side goes, I'm going to make a point to rent simulator space once a week just for an hour. I plan on hitting the range for 30 minutes indoors, unless we get a great day like we did today here in the Northeast, 60 degrees. I'm going to do that once a week and kind of report back. So with last week in the books, I went to the simulator over here in my town, and I got to play a couple of holes at Bay Hill, which is cool. They had it, but they only had it in it was just like a compilation of holes. So it wasn't actual Bay Hill.
Well, we played it when we were down there.
We played the full 18.
Yeah.
And it looks like a pretty flat course, but nevertheless, the clubs. So I think, and you're going to laugh at this, so those trusty 2 hybrids that I've had for the last 5 years, those are out. These Grenade hybrids, I absolutely love.
Dude, I'm excited that you're getting rid of that hybrid. It was giving me a panic attack because this thing, this guy Mike, he's playing. For anybody who maybe you've seen it on some of our Instagram and stuff like that, but this guy has had something rattling around in the shaft of this one club for so long, and it's just like he goes through his backswing. Whatever this thing is, this piece of dirt slides all the way down to the handle. Then he swings and it slides all the way down to the club, and it's just rattling. And I don't know how you tune that out because, like I said, it gives me anxiety.
Yeah, I know. You know what? You become so used to it, and I've gotten them removed. It's like a piece of cartilage in your knee. You keep getting removed, and it keeps breaking off and coming back. So it's still there. I have it. It's not arm distant from me. It's leaning against the wall. I would pick it up and shake it into the mic to show you how annoying it is. But I'm loving these hybrids. So now I've got rid of the 3 and 4 hybrid out of my bag, and I removed the 5 iron. So get this. I'm now going to play with the 3, 4, and 5 hybrid. I sat on the virtual range with the 3 of them, and I hit them 3, 4, and 5. I hit it 230. No, I'm sorry, 225, 210, and 200.
Wow.
From 3, 4 to 5. And all pretty consistent. 198, 202 with the 5. So I went in there with the goal to determine how do I play those clubs. Boom,
Hey, nice coverage too. Was that 10-yard gaps in between? I mean, that's
nice 10-yard gaps. And I'm looking at the clubs now. It's 24 degree, 21 degree, and then I see a 19. So yeah, I mean, really, really great coverage. And then I went to the 3-wood. Now here's the cool thing. I've always talked to this. I've never played with a 3-wood in my life.
Yeah.
I just had no confidence in it. I was always chunking it. It was too long of a club for me. I was used to the smaller hybrids. I like those clubs better. This Bomb Tech 3-wood,
yep,
I hit it 261 yards twice off the mat. I hit it further than a lot of my drives. Why is that? Why do you think that is? It's crazy, right?
Exactly. The real answer, I think, is because you're making really good sweet spot contact. Because your biggest pitfall with your driver, sometimes you get a little too confident, and then each shot. I've always told you this. Each shot you hit each shot that you hit well. I almost misspoke there. You seem to gear it up a little bit more on the next swing.
Right. That's
until it hits this like catastrophic level. So it's like each shot gets a little bit better and then it falls off a cliff. I think when you got a new club in your hands that you're not comfortable with, I mean, that driver you've had for like 5 years, you're super comfortable with it and you just swing the piss out of it.
Yeah, but I don't think I'm hitting it right.
But that's the thing. If you end up doing that, we talked about this before. We talked about it in our balance episode, where we said there's this crucial point at which you get this diminishing returns. As soon as you start to get a little bit off balance, you're going to start to have it where you're not generating the most efficiency. We talked about this before too, about how swing speed isn't everything. Efficiency is a large part of that. So I think most likely if you're just, swinging a little bit more conservatively, it's a new club, you're just getting the feel for it, you're probably staying more on balance and you're hitting it well. Plus, I mean, there's the other side of it. It's newer technology. It's a newer club than whatever you had been hitting by probably a couple of years. The Bomb Techs are known to be long clubs, but hey man, I'll take that any day. 260. I mean, I'm happy. I'm not long off the tee. I'm happy with 260, 275 out of my driver. So if you're getting that out of your 3-wood, hey, more power to you. You're really shortening those par 5s. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm running with that. No new driver yet. I think I might have to bite the bullet and buy something before we go to Bay Hill. I can't go in there with a Nike Covert. I don't know. I mean, it's old, and I don't know. So we're going to check that out. My putter still does this ping answer that I really like. I'm just going to put one of those Lambkin flat cats on it just to thicken the grip a little bit.
Well, that may all change, dude. We're getting a big putter fitting.
That's right. So we are getting a putter fitting. So that's happening, next month?
Next month. This is something I'm incredibly excited about. And this is really cool. Because these guys kind of reached out to us after they saw the vlog episode where we did the fitting, with Pete's Golf, down at Golf and Body. And they're like, guys, you got to come in and check this out. And we've been really wanting to do this. We talked a little bit about, a recent article that Eric Benzenberg had on Golficity talking about DJ getting a fitting and talking about the importance of getting your putter fitted. He makes a really strong point about like 40% of your scoring and your strokes come with your putter. So there's no other club that comes close to that. So why not start there? And I just I'm confident and comfortable with my putter, but I know it can be tuned better. I've got a nice Scotty Cameron, but it's a hand me down. My father gave me that club when I started playing again years ago. I mean, it was going back like 7+ years. And, I know it's a great club, but it's not necessarily fitted to me. So I'm very interested to see how this is going to work out and how this is going to play out. But yeah, you never know, Mike. I think we're going to go through this full detailed putter fitting. You may be walking into Bay Hill with a brand new putter.
We could be. Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to be talking about putter grips tonight, right?
We are going to be talking. Well, we're going to talk not
equipment, not equipment, but gripping the putter, which is all going to probably come into play down there. I'm curious to see if I'm actually gripping the putter correctly during this fitting as well. So
yeah. Well, I think what they're going to do is they're going to work with whatever you're doing already. Because you got to separate the fitting guys and the instruction guys. The instruction guys are going to change something with your setup, your swing, whatever. The fitting guys are going to fit that equipment as best as possible to whatever you're working with right now. So that's going to be a fun one. I'm looking forward to getting down there and doing that. As far as, this episode is going to drop when we're actually on our way back from Orlando. But hopefully if you guys are following us on social, you got to see a little bit of that and got to see a little bit of what we did. And I'm like talking in the past and it hasn't even happened yet. This is
Right,
funny
right.
when you record a couple days in advance because you're headed out. But we've got, we're going to try to make it into Top Golf Orlando, Wednesday night, depending on when our flight gets in. You know how it is flying out of New York in the winter in January, delays, whatever. Keep my fingers crossed it doesn't happen to us. We'll be at the show all day Thursday. We got some dinner and drinks with a couple guys on Thursday night. Then we've got the Travis Matthew party, which hopefully should be going down on Thursday night. So lots on the itinerary. Can't wait. Been super excited for this. And we're basically going to use this some recon of what we need to do next year because we're going to be down there a whole lot more and for more time next year. But this is going to be a fun one. All right. So before we jump into this week's, meat of this topic where we're going to talk about, the different putter grip styles, which by the way, this one comes as yet another, listener suggestion. Someone, and I apologize if I don't remember the name because it was going back a little bit of ways because we kind of have a long queue of topics that we're going to get through. So when we get these ideas and these suggestions, we kind of add them into the rotation and get to them as soon as we can. But this was a listener suggestion asking us to talk about the different putter grip styles, what they mean, what the benefits of each one is, why you should investigate the different ones. So we're going to go through all that and I'm looking forward to that. Before we do, once again, I want to thank Health IQ for sponsoring this week's episode. And guys, let me educate you on Health IQ because prior to this, I didn't even know they existed. Now I'm loving taking advantage of their discounted life insurance rates. What Health IQ does is they use science and data to secure lower rates on life insurance for health conscious people, including runners, cyclists, strength trainers, vegans, you name it. They've got a wide variety of people that they help. And talk about savings. 56% of Health IQ customers save between 4 and 33% on their life insurance. And these savings are exclusive to Health IQ.
Yeah, man. I mean, the reason Health IQ can save their customers up to 33% is because, like you said before, physically active people have a 56% lower risk of heart disease, 20% lower risk of cancer, and get this 58% lower risk of diabetes when compared to people who are inactive. I mean, think of it like saving money on your car insurance for being a good driver. Health IQ saves you money on your life insurance for living a health conscious lifestyle. So learn more and get a free quote at healthiq.com/golficity.
Yeah, cool stuff. So let's talk about these putter grips for a second because, the one thing that I like about this sport is that there are so many different ways to get the job done, so to speak. There's so many different ways in golf that you can kind of stylistically still do what's comfortable for you. You don't have to fit within a box of something that everyone else feels like is the conventional method or whatever it may be. So like, for instance, like, you have some other sports where there's really only one technique that'll work, right? Here we have with golf, there's lots of varieties. And as long as you stay within the rules, there's a lot of different techniques you can use to get the ball in the hole. And we see that. We've seen some crazy things even on the PGA Tour. But really nowhere is that concept more obvious than on the greens. And if you look around your local putting green, golf course, or even if you watch golf on TV, you see players using all sorts of different methods to roll the ball across the green. We've even seen guys change and go from one different thing to another grip. And it really isn't a matter of which technique is best. They can all work nicely in different circumstances. It's more so, and the main point I want to make and drive home here is it really comes down to finding the technique that's right for you. So there's nothing here that we're going to highlight that's going to say this is for everyone. We're going to highlight some of the pros and cons of each, but it's really going to be up to exploring. And you've got to see what works, which one, the pros kind of negate the things that you most struggle with or, whatever it may be. And what gives you I always say this, you always hear me say, whatever gives you the most confidence standing over the ball is what you really want to go with. But we're going to run through, the 3 most common and what those are and how those are used and how you can kind of use them effectively. So the first one, and full disclosure, I'll tell you what I do. I'm a traditional putting grip guy. What about you, Mike?
Yeah, traditional putting as well.
Okay. So the traditional putting grip, it's the best place to start. It's definitely the most common grip in the game. And it's really stood the test of time because it's solid, it's reliable, it's comfortable for most golfers. And you're going to see a lot of different grips, when you look at the professional tour, but this is going to be something that pops up kind of more likely than the rest. And a traditional grip is basically very similar to how you'd hold every other club. For a righty, it's going to be right hand low, left hand high. And what that's going to do is, and also we've heard it called the reverse overlap. That's the other thing. We're going to kind of use some terminology here. A lot of these have multiple names of what they're called, but if you hear the reverse overlap, or if you hear traditional putting grip, this is what we're talking about. When they say reverse overlap, it describes the way that your fingers kind of interact, where your left hand is going to be higher than your right. Just like I said, this is for a righty, and just reverse everything we're saying here if you're lefty. But, just like making a regular swing on with any other club in the bag, it's going to be a similar type of thing. Left hand higher than right. And to connect your hands, you usually will use, some sort of overlap. I've seen some guys who almost do like a complete overlap where both hands are like sealed together. Me personally, when I'm putting, I just do a very small overlap with the index finger of the left hand, and I like to extend the index finger of my right hand down the club a little bit more for a little bit more control. That just gives me the most confidence with it. But most golfers find that the grip performs, perfectly, or as best as you can imagine in terms of distance control. And the reason why, this is why I prefer it, because I'm a type of guy, I think you get the speed right, you sink a lot more putts. I'm far more focused on speed than anything else. But because it's such a similar manner to holding it on full swings, you've got that nice feel right out of the gate. Now on the downside, you may be prone to the yips with this grip, since the right hand is going to be able to influence the putter quite easily. So the right hand, this is again for righties, is going to have a lot more influence, a lot more ability to kind of change the motion, change the speed of the club. So that's where, if you are someone who's prone to the yips, you may want to kind of stay away from this. But if you're someone who's, able to like really work with this and get the speed right and not get that kind of extra hitches in your swing from nerves, I think this is a great grip to go with. That said, another thing we hear a lot of our listeners, write in about is the yips. We hear that word a lot, that dreaded, word. It's just like, you hate that. You hate to see it. We did a whole episode on it because you're struggling with the yips, man. It is one frustrating experience.
Right.
So I think that is the kind of the gateway drug, so to speak, that leads to people trying some other grips. It's usually pretty much every golfer at some point starts off with the traditional grip and varies to one of these other ones because something is wrong. Something is not going right, something that they're not comfortable with, and they want to do something a little bit different. So, and what a lot of guys jump to is the cross-handed grip. And this is also a popular grip. Any of these that you use, you're not going to necessarily be like an outlier. You're not going to look funny out there on the course because these are very common. A lot of people are using them. And as the name kind of says, what you do is you reverse the order of your hands on the grip. So the left hand is going to be lower than the right, again, for a right-handed golfer. And it's up to you to choose, to connect the hands or not. Some golfers use an overlap. Other ones just, press the hands together. We see this kind of with Jordan Spieth.
Yeah, I was going to say Spieth does the cross-handed, right?
Yeah. Spieth is like kind of your biggest one. And look, there's an argument to be made there because Spieth is arguably one of the best putters. When he gets hot, he's not, you can't beat him. You can't beat him on the greens. And he's been using it for quite some time. So that's a great demonstration if you want to see somebody using it. The other one we've seen Rory McIlroy use it. And basically what it does is it really, by changing that orientation of your hands on the grip, you're able to hold that putter face steady throughout the stroke. What that really does is it basically ends up sending the ball in that intended direction. The trade-off, however, often comes with that loss of feel. So if you do decide to switch to this grip, you're going to have to give it time. We talk about like any type of swing change and especially a grip change. I know, Mike, you went through a big grip change, like, what was it, 2 seasons ago?
2 seasons ago, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that was with your other clubs, and it's paid off now. You're loving that you put the work in, but there's a frustrating, time there where you're getting used to it. Same deal here. There's going to be that loss of feel because you're just not used to that, holding the club that way in that motion. So a lot of golfers, when they switch to this, what they talk about is having a little bit of trouble getting their speed right. So if you're going to want to make this switch, and if you are having trouble with the yips, or you're having trouble keeping that ball in line, or keeping that putter face moving, through the impact zone the way you want it without kind of straying off its path, if you're going to move to this, be ready to put the work in. Put the work in, practice it. Good thing about putting, it's not like taking full swings. You can do it in your house. We see a lot of guys on the Facebook group are enjoying that putt ski. That thing looks awesome. And it's a great way just to keep getting the rhythm and the stroke down. And if you're going to do this, I would say commit to it. Put in like a half hour every other night or something, where you're just sitting there and, in your bedroom before you go to bed, and just keep rolling a couple. So just if you're ready to put the practice in, it can pay off. The feel will come back as you become used to that grip, and then you'll be able to take advantage of it. Me personally, it just seems so far from what I'm used to. I couldn't do it. I don't have really a motivation or a reason to, because I'm happy with my current stroke. We got to be on that little, that TrackMan type of thing. It's not a TrackMan. It's like a TrackMan for putting, which you saw on that vlog episode when we were at Golf and Body, and they got to measure our strokes.
Right.
Mine was fairly consistent. So I'm happy with where I'm at, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's right for everybody. So that's one thing you can change. And then the other grip that you hear very often, and it's probably most widely referred to as the claw, right? So what you would do, again, for a righty, your left hand is going to be the same as it would be with a traditional putter grip, but you're going to turn your right hand over so that your palm is facing towards your body. And then you're just kind of just holding it, almost like it looks like a claw. I mean, that's why people call it the claw. And you attach your right hand to the club in any number of ways. Some people wrap their fingers all the way around it, holding it like a pencil. Some guys just barely kind of touch it, and it's just leaning between their thumb and index finger. There's different ways to do it. We got a shot here of let's see, we got here Adam Scott, right? In the article, which I'll link to in the show notes. You can get to by going to golficity.com/episode 203. But he does it a little bit different. He's got his claw hand grip is kind of like two fingers, just, his index and middle finger just over the club. He went through a lot of experiments because remember, he was the stand-up anchor guy. And when they ruled out the anchoring, he took him a season or two to get used to using the shorter putter. So this is what he's done. And the claw, it's often thought of as the grip for golfers who basically failed the last two options, but that doesn't have to be the case. There are notable benefits of this grip, and that includes stability that it offers, and again, that low likelihood of the yips. So here's something too. It's going to be a lot personal preference. A lot of guys like that, just very light right-handed touching it, because it really takes the right hand a lot out of play. Remember, a good putting stroke is going to be just with the upper body turning in one solid piece and the lower body staying completely firm. It's almost like just a pendulum rocking back and forth. So really all the hands are doing is connecting the shoulders and upper body to that club. You don't want a lot of wrist action at all. By holding that claw grip, you really help take that wrist action out, because it really just kind of locks everything in. So
makes sense.
Before you commit to it, give it a little bit of a try on the practice green, at home, putting on your carpet, whatever. See if it's something that feels a little bit like natural to you. If it does, then roll with it. You can try it for a while. But the thing that I would hate to see people do, and I would hesitate to say it would be a good idea, would be to jump back and forth too much. May want to experiment a little bit, but then once you do, lock it in, put the practice in. Because when you start, I've seen this before too, where every time you play around with somebody, Mike, you probably know somebody like this, that they're using a different putting grip. And you're like, what are you doing? And that you're chasing a moving target at that point. It just becomes too hard. So it really comes down to personal preference. You're not making a full swing. You don't have to worry about the dynamics of the golf swing and how your grip is going to affect those factors. What you really want to do is find something that you're comfortable with, that helps you really roll that ball roll nicely off the putter face. And then once you get some success, like I said, stick with it. Don't change it too often, because you're just going to end up frustrated. And you're not going to ever give anything the full commitment it deserves. A lot of times I see this where people they give up on that grip before it really gets a chance to get the feel down, and the feel is the most important thing. So stick with it over the long run. Don't constantly change it, and put the time in. If you're going to commit to it, it's not just something to be like, I'm not putting well by the 8th hole, so let me switch to a claw grip on the 9th.
Right.
I think that can be a mistake. I think it's more so if you make a educated decision based on some of the things we're talking about here, the pros and cons, and then feel each one, feel what it feels like. And then if you find that one you think is going to be right for your game, put the work in, put the time in, and then try it. And I think that's the best advice that I can offer in that regard.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, it was really, really tough. It was tough to do the grip change on the other clubs, to go from a baseball grip to an interlocking grip. And I see guys who interlock their fingers for their putter. I see so many different putting grips out there, and you just don't know which one is right. You just don't know which one works for you. I don't know. I mean, my grip could be the wrong grip for me, but you know what? Like I said before, we will find that out in that putter fitting, right? Or are they just going to tell us what putter we need to buy?
They're going to work with whatever you're currently doing. So they're going to probably ask you what grip do you use and things like that, because they're not coaching you. So
they're not coaching you. Okay. So they wouldn't come back with feedback like, hey, you should try the claw based on.
I think if anything, they may come back with grip size. Like you see the fatter grips, they may say like, if you're very handsy, they may want you to put you into a thicker grip so that it kind of takes that out of play. But I don't think they're going to change that much. But plus think about it like this, something like an overlap versus interlocking. That's not something that's going to it's not going to, like we said before, impart as much of a change on the club as a full swing would. So here it's very much just kind of preference. I personally, I just overlap a bit just because I'm so used to that because I do it with other clubs. But I think that's just going to lay to personal preference.
Okay.
Yeah. But you never know. Look, if you get fitted and you have a dramatic change in your putter itself, you may want to change the grip as well to kind of work with that. And by that, I mean from switching from like a mallet to, blade type putter. You may find it's just something you haven't discovered before because you haven't put it in your hands.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And you may start to feel like, okay, with this particular putter style, I work a little bit better with a different grip. So who knows? It remains to be seen, but I'm looking forward to that. That's coming up really quick. Make sure you, like I said, you're following us on YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you'll be able to see those vlog episodes when they hit first. As well as, we always post them in our Facebook group. If you haven't had a chance to join that yet, remember, it's a completely free group. It's for, listeners of the show. It's a great way to interact between episodes. It's also a great way for us to get your feedback so we can tailor this show to fit what you guys are looking for. I know just last week I posted a poll just seeing like what length show do you guys prefer? It seems like overwhelmingly everyone was saying that the 30 to 60 minute is like the wheelhouse. Obviously we had a wide range. Some people are saying much longer. Some people are saying under 30 minutes, but
I said under 30. No, I was just kidding. I'm kidding. I enjoy it. I will do this for hours. You know that.
Of course.
Yeah.
But even when we turn the mics off, the funny part about this is me and you could probably continue to talk for another 30 minutes.
I know. Re-record it.
But it's less structured. So we try to keep it a little bit structured for you guys. But anyway, if you want the less structured thing, definitely check out our live episodes because that's been a lot of fun. We've been having a lot of fun with that. We usually do those on Tuesday nights on our Facebook page, but turn on if you like our Facebook page, turn on the live notifications, check that out. Because the other part about that I like, it's not just me and you talking. We're able to get involved with the comments and talk to people and watching them. But anyway, that's what I was saying about the Facebook group. We're able to get that feedback, whatever it may be. As I said, this topic tonight came from a suggestion from somebody in the group, and as well as getting that quick feedback, length, whatever it may be. And we're able to usually the guys in the group are the first ones to see the different, giveaways and things we have going on because we just kind of blast it out there, before we even drop it anywhere else usually. So check that out. You can get to the show notes for this week's episode by going to golficity.com/episode 203. Hopefully you guys are following along when we're down there at the PGA show, and we'll be back again next week with more for you. See you then.